Every single placement or every big thing that's happened in my life, something terrible happened in my life beforehand. I deleted Instagram. First message I seen that popped up was, "You got a placement with," and I was like, my name is FORTHENIGHT, and I'm a producer from Toronto, Canada. I worked with a bunch of people. The list is kind of long, but I work with Toliver, Summer Walker, SZA, Young Nudie, Lil Uzi, Black, Mariah the Scientist, Lotto. Yeah, the list goes on.
Being from the Toronto area, tell us how you got started, how you came up. I know you had some early interactions with Wonder Girl.
I started off as a DJ, and then I slowly transitioned to making beats, chopping samples and whatnot. Yeah, from there I kind of just went into, finding samples as well. Samples was one of the things that a lot of people weren't doing at the time. I think this was 2018. You had your Frank Dukes, your Q Beats, your Ill Minds. There's a small group of people that were doing samples, but it wasn't really big. And then the Kingsway group and stuff. Yeah, I started to get into samples, and then just to kind of get my foot in the door, because I feel like a lot of people were just making beats and it was just oversaturated. What's the best way to get into the industry? And that was through samples. I just studied how to make compositions. I was listening to scary movie soundtracks for inspiration. And from there, I kind of started to do sample packs and start to brand myself. A lot of the sample packs, I had the moon. That's why everyone knew me for all my sample packs having a moon or a dark theme. So I try to, brand myself. Yeah, everything just kind of just went up from there. I met Wonder Girl. My cousin as well has been mentoring me before that, Lower Quest. And yeah, that's pretty much kind of how I got into the game. And then right now I just kind of transitioned back into getting placements with beats as well and producing with artists.
I know one of the times you talked about early on where you got a chance to play beats for Wonder Girl and the timing wasn't right at the time. But the fact, because bro, I know a lot of people that quit early and they really did have it. They had it, they could have done something, but they quit early. The fact that you persevered through not just that, but you just kept going, you knew you had something, and now you have worked with some of the biggest artists in the world. Even one of Don Toliver alone would be something that a lot of producers would want to have worked with. But you've just done it time and again and again and again. How does that happen over and over?
Yeah, honestly, it was just more so just staying consistent. I'm a person that I'll probably take a week off or maybe a couple days or whatever. But it's I'm consistent a lot. I'm always making music. It's never a year where I'll be off making music or a month. And I feel that's what kind of helped me. Just consistency. Relationships. I feel networking was something really, really big for me. I love networking. But I kind of see networking as a different aspect. I just like talking to people, to be honest, because I'm a very social person. So I'll just have conversations with random producers or artists just aside from music. And I feel that's where kind of the connections come from, because they don't see you as an opportunist where it's oh, you're just constantly sending out stuff or yo, let's get in the studio or this. It's it's very from a personal place, not just a business. That was a big thing for me as well.
Yeah, I've heard that time and again too. Fierce, same thing with him where he said, he met Wanda through video games and he was yeah, we built that relationship that way. So on that note, let's say you build the relationship. Even once you've built the relationship, because this is actually an issue I had early on. I was too timid. Even if I would get some crazy connect, I'd have some of my producer homies tell me oh, you had this connect and this conversation and you only sent stuff one time. What are you talking about? I've heard people say the opposite where they're no, you got to go be sending stuff constantly. But how often should they be sending stuff out to connections that they're making and people that they're working with?
I honestly feel you should be sending stuff all the time. But at the same time, it's it's kind of it's a difficult thing to say, because me personally, I don't do weekly packs or send out 50 beats a day or whatever. I kind of I'm very intentional with the stuff I do. If I'm working with an artist or, a certain producer asks me for stuff, I'll give them stuff. But then also too, I'll have months where, I'll just make a bunch of stuff and I'll just send it out to a bunch of other producers. It's not really consistent where it's week I'm doing weekly packs. Me personally, I just feel you get burnt out by doing that. And everyone's situation is different. For me, it's just more so relationship based, right? Where I'll just have a conversation with someone and be oh, and then sometimes they'll ask me, hey, do you have, this idea for this person? And I'll be oh, I just made this last week. Let me just send it over. And then that will kind of keep on happening. Yeah, the consistency just happens with me specifically. It's just, I just don't take long breaks. I'm always I'm always making ideas. I'm always, learning stuff. And yeah, that's kind of how I go about it.
That's interesting, because that does sound like something where they say just always be ready. because you don't know when the opportunities are going to come through. There's definitely times where you get hit with a crazy opportunity. And maybe like let's say if you haven't been consistently cooking up, it's not as easy to just make that happen as easily. Yoko Gold is one of my favorite artists, and I feel like he still hasn't gotten his shine. I know he's definitely getting a ton of love, and I'm happy he is, but the ceiling for him, I feel like, is crazy high. When did you even get in touch with Yoko? Like, how did that come about? And what's the relationship like now? Because I know you guys are still working.
So I met Yoko, I think it was maybe like 2 years ago. One of my good homies, he's also a producer to Saint Germain. One day he just told me, I remember he had a session with Quasi, and Quasi's from Toronto as well. We had a session one day, and that was the first time I met Saint. I remember he messaged me, and he's just like, yo, you should get in a session with this guy named Yoko. And I've heard of him before as well, too. So I'm just like, okay, definitely. Like, he's just like, yo, you guys would definitely make some dope stuff. So I'm like, hey, you know what? Let's do it. So we got in a session. I remember the first session that we did. It was just, bouncing off ideas. Usually when you get in like sessions with artists, the first session is usually, sometimes like it's rare that you guys will get like something really, really good. But a lot of the time it's just kind of like connecting and just, getting to know each other to see if you guys are actually, compatible to actually just, make ideas or see if the relationship can go, furthermore. So first time, I think we linked up, just chopped it up. I think we made an idea, but it didn't really go anywhere. We ended up getting another session. He came to Niagara. I used to live in Niagara Falls. We did a session. I've never, ever executive produced a project before. So this was kind of like new for me. I remember on my whiteboard, I had like a whole bunch of, goals and stuff. And it was one of them was, to executive produce a project or like build a sound with the artist. It was like one of those. And I remember we made this idea and he did this like test that's so crazy. To this day, I always tell everybody it's like the funniest test. I made the beat and then it was kind of like a writing session. So as I'm making the beat, he's writing. He hopped on the mic and I kind of just recorded like very, very rough scratch vocals. He did like a bunch of takes. I think like maybe 10-minute takes and he did it like maybe 3 times. So there was a lot of takes that he did. And I think when he finished, he's just like, yo, piece the song together. And it was kind of pressure for me because I'm like, oh shit, he just wants me to just piece out the song. Like he just did a bunch of takes and just left the room and said, yo, piece it together. So I'm like, oh shoot. All right. So I got like the catchiest parts. I'm like, okay, this definitely sounds like a hook. All right, boom. So I moved it to the bottom. All right, this definitely sounds like a verse. Boom, let me move that to the bottom. It sounds like a pre-hook. Let me move that to the bottom. And I remember like I pieced out like a rough song. He came back and he's just like, bro, do you know what you just did? And I'm like, no, what did I do? So within those 20, 30-minute takes, he actually had a song that he made a long time ago that he basically put in throughout the song. And I basically pieced together
There's no way.
I pieced together the song. Yeah, I literally pieced together the song. Like maybe it might have been like maybe like one verse that was like, another part, whatever. But like the hook and then the pre was like from the next song. And he heard it and he's just like, bro, like what in the world? Like that's crazy. And I remember from there, he's just like, bro, do you want to help me like make my next project? And from there, bro, we've just been like working consistently. And yeah, bro, like he's literally a brother to me, so.
Yo, if there's ever been a sign, like that's as like clear as it gets, man. I've never heard anything like that. That's really wild. That must have been some time ago then.
That was like 2 years ago. So we've been working on a project for a while. And bro, you already know how artists are, man. They'll like change up their mind like 50 times, bro. We finally got to a place where we're getting stuff that we really, really like. It's definitely going to be amazing. I feel like Yoko's the next person to come out of Toronto that's going to do something special for sure.
Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it. And I hope he's the one to do it. We might as well just talk about the Lotto track. We might as well just do it.
Yeah.
It's featuring Mariah the Scientist. You've already worked with Mariah the Scientist previous to this.
Yeah, I have a song with her. What's it called? It's called About Mine. I did it with Wonder Girl.
The fact that Mariah featured on this track have anything to do with that prior placement or just happened? That's crazy.
Bro, it literally just happened out of, I don't know. I guess me and Mariah make good music.
yeah, there's gotta be, bro. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like one time's one thing, but yeah. Talk to me about the process of this latest track, how it came about. I know you made the sample.
I kind of took a break from like making samples and whatnot because I was, getting placements with me doing drums and stuff. So I wasn't really making a lot of samples. So I went to LA last year, June to August or so. One of my boys named Jason, he's like an A&R. He basically linked me up with one of his producers that he manages named Calvin Valentine. And literally the first session, me and Calvin made that. And yeah, which is very, very rare, like very rare. But I remember when we made that idea, I'm like, yo, this idea is crazy. Like I know for a fact I'm getting this place. Sometimes I just know when I'm going to get something placed.
Wow.
And that was definitely one of those ones like I knew. And I was playing it for a bunch of people. I played it for like a couple artists, a couple producers and stuff, but just weren't really feeling it. And me and Coop, like I said, me and Coop like talk here and there. Sometimes he'll ask me for ideas or sometimes we'll just like chop it up. And he just asked me like, to send ideas. And that was one of the ideas in the pack. And it's I literally found out like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I was on it. So yeah, it's dope.
Does that happen a lot where you find out like that last minute or?
Every time. I think almost all the placements I've had, whether it was me doing drums, me doing samples or me doing post-production, bro, all the time it's either like day of or like a couple days before that I found out I'm on the project. Or
when you talk about, okay, I know this is going to get placed, I find that interesting as well. Like that you kind of have an ear for what will hit and what won't. But when you're playing beats for artists, how does that process normally go about for people who haven't had those sessions or been in those rooms? If you're in the studio with an artist, are you just going like cycling through beats? But with something like this, where you're like, oh, I know this can get placed. How does that go about? And how many beats are you normally like going through per session, or does it vary?
It depends. A lot of the time recently, I'm really, really into like my executive producer bag. So a lot of the time, like I'll get in the session and then kind of see, what they're kind of going for, and we'll kind of make the track on the spot. So I'll probably get like an idea that I started before. But usually with rappers, I feel like R&B artists, pop artists, Afro artists, you build songs from scratch and kind of produce it out as they're there. For example, like, they'll go on the microphone and just like, say a couple ideas and I'll be like, oh my gosh, that's the hook, or like, that's the pre. But with rap, it's definitely just playing beats or like, playing like an idea that you had before, or like a sample that you got and then drumming it up. That's kind of it's like very genre based. If you ask me, like very, very genre based. Like rappers, you'll just cycle through beats. That you made before, because they're just like, hey, give me the beat. Let me go in the studio. Let me, write whatever. Cause like, their minds are flowing like very, very fast. Compared to like, R&B artists, pop artists, Afro artists or whatever. Like they'll just be like, hey, let's make something, from scratch.
Sweezy has a couple questions. Do you play piano or know any music theory?
I do not know anything.
That's wild. Okay.
I trained my ear to like recognize scales. So I don't know how to explain it, but it's like I'll go on like the keyboard. So like say if I want to make a sample, I'll basically play a scale out and I'll know exactly what scale I'm in. Like, cause I don't know, it's kind of like a pattern. All the notes will kind of connect. I'll be like, okay, this is the key I'm in. And then from there I can just start playing chords.
Right.
That's kind of how I go about it. Yeah.
Yeah. I see you. And is it like the root note? Like you'll know the root note of that?
Like I don't remember the scale. Like I just know it's kind of like a pattern. I don't know. Like I just kind of train my ear to recognize a pattern. Like if I want to go in I think it's called Phrygian scale, whatever, I'll kind of like press it out on the keyboard and I'll know, okay, this connects to Phrygian scale or like a melodic minor or like I don't know, E minor or whatever. And then from there, I'll kind of it's just patterns. I don't know. I've been doing it for so long. I just recognize patterns and just know what works together and what doesn't.
That's pretty cool. I want to dive into that more at some point. But that is interesting. But I found your process in general very interesting. A lot of experimentation, going for that different, unique sound, but still keeping it usable. Sweezy has another question too. He said, how was your experience getting an entertainment lawyer for the first time?
I was kind of blessed early on. I met my lawyer very, very, very extremely early on. I think my manager, he kind of connected me with him. And then ever since, like, he's just been my lawyer.
That's wild, man.
So like I never like switched lawyers. I never switched managers. Like I just kind of had a consistent like team throughout this whole entire time.
Yeah, I mean, even the lawyer thing is something I hear a lot about. Like people asking, like, where do I find a good lawyer? Even the manager thing alone. You mentioned that you'll need a manager, but you'll know when you'll need one.
You'll definitely know. I feel like early on you don't really need one because it's like you're giving 15% to somebody that's without any placements, it doesn't make sense. Like, how are you going to pay your manager, right? But it also depends too, right? If someone believes in you and they want to help you. My manager, for instance, like he does a lot of my day-to-day and, represents me, but also, gets plays as well. For me personally, I don't deal with that stuff, but I have the craziest ADHD ever. So like, I can't deal with music and then, deal with this stuff. And like, it's just a lot on my brain. So my manager definitely helps me just focus on like the creative side. With the business side, like I do, I feel like I had to learn about the business as well, just so if anything comes my way, like I'll know how to like answer it myself. So it's not, I'm not always reliant every single time. Right. But for the most part, it's like, he deals with the business side. I deal with the creative side just so I can kind of just stay focused.
That sounds like a good setup. And I totally agree with you still having that knowledge and base layer of understanding of the business yourself. You said something along the lines of don't chase placement. Like don't make that your only goal, chasing placements, especially if you're just starting out, running like some rat race or something, not even knowing what you're doing or where you're going. On the same token, you're one of those producers that has like this crazy catalog, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of producers are curious, like, how do I get that? And then they say something like, oh, well, don't chase the placements. They're like, what should they be focused on? And I know everybody has different goals, but are there things that you think maybe should be more of a focus for producers and then maybe less of a focus?
Yeah, I feel like starting off, bro, you want to build your brand, bro. You want to honestly separate yourself from all the producers coming out, right? I feel like everybody's, doing the same thing. So like, what makes you compared to everybody else? Building a brand. Number one, intention. I feel like intention is like the biggest thing when it comes to placements and stuff. The number one rule of getting placements is don't make things for placements. Meaning that you can make stuff to get placed or whatever, but don't make it with the intention of, I need to get this placed or like I need to push to get this placed or whatever. Just make music, just make great music and focus on, all the other stuff after. Obviously, if someone hits you up directly for something specific, that's different. But just in general, you're not going to go and say, okay, I'm just going to go and make a bunch of Drake samples because I want to get on Drake's album. Yeah, you can do that. Set the intentions out, manifest it, but not every day wake up and be like, oh, I need to get on Drake's project. It doesn't. You're actually pushing you're going against the universe. The universe is going to work against you. You're going to work against God. You basically have to like trust in God at that point, Yeah, you want to get on Drake's project. Work towards it, set the intention, but don't completely only focus on that. Focus on other stuff. And then by the time you know it, just wake up one day and it's like, oh shoot, I got a Drake.
That's real. That's real. That's too real. It's
yeah,
too
that's
real.
kind of how it is. I feel like everyone's just always very, very placement heavy when it comes to this game. And it's like, bro, literally every single producer does not think about that has a bunch of placements. The number one rule, do not think about placements. Just make music. Like that's the best way to put it.
Yeah. No, I agree, man. And the consistency thing is one of the biggest things about that. And a lot of producers have different reasons for why they might not be consistent at a particular point or why they didn't keep it up. Like I know some definitely get in their heads and stuff. That happens. Have you ever pushed for sync placements?
Nah, I haven't, to be honest, bro. Like I haven't. Okay. Which honestly, sync is honestly like a great thing. Like it's honestly like a really, really great thing. You get your money up super early compared to you getting like working with artists and stuff like that. It's very direct. I've had a couple like sync placements. I don't push for it. It's kind of just happened for me. I feel like it definitely is a great avenue if you want to get paid immediately. You avoid a lot of loops and holes and a whole bunch of stress that comes with, paperwork or whatever. Like sync is very just upfront. You get paid. Sometimes you even get paid within like a week or 2 weeks. Yeah.
Sounds nice. Nice.
Yeah, compared to you doing placements and like getting on albums or whatnot. So yeah, it's honestly a great avenue.
What are your studio etiquette guidelines when you're in the session with a big artist? That's something that Sweezy also asked. But again, one of those ones I'm curious about as well.
That's a good question. Don't start a session off going straight into it. Like don't just meet the artist and just start playing stuff. I feel like that's kind of, you're not building a relationship. You're just like, you wouldn't know because think of it as you wouldn't know how many sessions that the artist like went into where they just went into a session where like someone just pressed play. Like what kind of separates you from everybody else? It's like some people would just remember, oh, yo, this guy's a great person. I remember he had great energy and he's a dope producer. Being a dope producer is kind of just a default thing now. You expect it to be great. You expect it to come and fire. I feel like what brings people back in the room is just how are you as a person? Like, are you able to just have a normal conversation with the artist without just saying, yo, let's just get into it. Let me just play this beat. It's honestly boring, bro. It's like how you gonna make the artist be inspired or like make them want to be there or make them want to hit you up. So that's a really, really big studio etiquette thing for me. It's not just straight go into it. Just get to know the artist, talk to them, ask them how their day was. Because also too, like if you ask them how their day was, they could have been having problems with their girl. And they're like, yo, they want to make a song that is super sad. And you're just like, yo, honestly, bro, I just made this idea. This will be perfect. Instead of you just pulling up a bunch of beats that you had before. And it was like all these like crazy hard beats when he just, he or her just got in a situation with their partner or whatever, when they just want to just let it out on the mic. Getting to know the artist, bro. Like that's like, I think my big studio etiquette. For sure.
Right. And that goes right back to the relationship things that you brought up right at the very start. What about sessions that didn't go to plan?
I've definitely had sessions where like I'll go to a session and play a bunch of beats for an artist and they won't even like one beat. It's definitely happened. And after you just kind of leave there like, oh my gosh, I'm garbage. But obviously, like it's at the end of the day, it's kind of just how an artist is feeling at the like in that current moment. Like sometimes they can just have writer's block. They can just kind of come to the studio with nothing in mind and just expect you to, just kind of expect you to like read whatever's in their head without you telling them. So you're just kind of just fishing at that point. When you do that, like those type of fishing sessions, bro, you're definitely bound to like not get anything done. It honestly happens, bro. It builds character though. I'm not gonna lie. It definitely builds character.
No, for sure. I mean, I've been in a session I've been in a few of those, but there was one in particular where I remember the impression that I got was that it was exactly like you described. We went through so many beats, bro, so many different ideas, but it did get to a point where I could tell he just wasn't inspired by like anything at that moment. And he was trying, I could tell, but we went through so much. And even he had writers in the room too. And they also were like, maybe we should just like take a break. I don't even think maybe it was my beats. I don't know. But I don't know. There's something else going on. So that does happen. That absolutely happens.
Yeah, no, 100%. No, sometimes you're just not meant to be with the artist. Sometimes you're just not, you guys are incompatible. Like he just doesn't like your beats, your style. And that's just that specific artist. And like every single artist you like you're in the studio with, they're not gonna like all your stuff. It's just kind of how life is. If everybody was to like all your stuff, like I feel like everybody would have a placement at that point.
Yeah. Facts,
like,
facts,
so
facts.
it's just you kind of just have to like trust in God and see what artists connect with you the most compared to others. The artists that really mess with you or the producers that really mess with you, connect with them and keep building a relationship. And the ones that just didn't work out, like it is what it is. Like it's just one artist. There's like 5 billion quadrillion artists out there that you can work with, right? So you just shouldn't be like focused on just one artist.
Right now, I feel like kits and I don't know, certain producer products are kind of making like resurgence. Maybe I'm wrong about that and it's a different type of wave, but is that something you're thinking about at all?
Yeah, no, 100%. Like I'll definitely in the future still plan to release a sample pack. Like at this point in my life, I'm kind of just whatever the end product is at the end of the day, like I'll do whatever. Like I'm not just, I'm only going to make beats. Well, I can make beats, I can make samples, I can be in a session and arrange a song for an artist, like whatever gets to the finished product the fastest, also helps the producer community as well. Like I'm always for. So, whether if it's making a plugin, which I definitely want to do one day, or mentoring producers as well. Yeah, things like that. Like I'm always for that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to get to the elephant in the room too, bro. Like the Grammy. Let's talk about the Grammy.
Yeah, so bro, the Grammy, that was, I feel like every single placement or every big thing that's happened in my life, something terrible happened in my life beforehand, like super terrible. Like I'm just down bad or I'm just like super depressed or super sad. And then like something just big happens after that. Like it's happened with all my accomplishments. And I feel like it's going to continue to happen. That's just kind of how it is. With that specifically for the Bad Bunny one, same thing, dropped the sample pack. This was a public pack, but I did like a couple of years ago. It was Night Expedition, my first Night Expedition. And that was on a website called Drum Broker. As usual, just not thinking of anything. I just literally just put that out into the world of, hey, this is my work, not in terms of me getting placements or anything. I literally just made the sample pack of just, hey guys, this is the stuff I can make. I love music, put it out. So what happened was when I first got that Bad Bunny placement, I was going through like a very, 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 very rough time. I deleted Instagram. And
wow, bro.
Not my account, but just like the app. So like I wasn't on the app for like maybe like a week or so. And I deleted it. And then something told me to just download it again. So I'm like, okay, you know what? Let me just download it. I downloaded it, and the first message I think I seen that popped up was somebody saying something about Bad Bunny, and I'm like, this is all right, bro. Let me just like skim through whatever. So I wanted to see if it was real. I'm just like, hey, like, yo, if this is real, can you like text me? Because like, I don't know if this is real. So it was my boy's manager. So he hit me up, and then basically when we got on the call, that's when he actually told me like, yo, you got a placement with Bad Bunny. And I was like, oh shoot. From there, one thing led to another. You know, the song came out. The album did like super amazing, like super. It went crazy. And then, you know, later down the road, it got nominated for a Latin Grammy. Funny enough, he didn't win the Latin Grammy. So
wow.
I remember that because the Latin Grammys it comes first, and then the actual like American Grammys go second. So I remember I was like bummed out. Like I was so pissed, like, because he never won the.
And that's after it did those crazy numbers, right?
Yeah, but I don't know. It was crazy. So he didn't win the Latin one. I'm like, yo, this guy, if he didn't win the Latin one, like,
there's no chance.
Probably no way, but like, hey, we'll see. And then from there, I found out I got nominated, and I was like, bro, this is crazy. And then I remember I watched it, and I seen like he won, and I was like, bro, that's crazy. It just put a battery in my back, to be honest, to like go harder.
Right.
Next up is definitely the physical one. I definitely want to get the physical one, which definitely will happen very soon. Physical Grammy.
Let's do it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Even the fact that you were going through one of the roughest patches of your life, like that is a big deal. That's not some light. When you were going through that, are you still working on music?
Always.
Did you? Yeah.
I'm literally always working on music no matter what.
Okay.
And that's where consistency happens, where if I'm going through something, I'm putting into music. I'm not taking a month off. I'm not taking 2 months off. I'm not taking a year. And trust me, the amount of stuff that's happened to me, I'm pretty sure anybody would just like give up and not make music for a long time. For me, it's just like, I feel like these are the moments where you're supposed to go the hardest, where it's kind of like, you know that meme where like some guy is mining for diamonds or whatever, and then he just like stops?
Right.
Like a lot of people, they just stop when they're just about to hit like the diamonds. Me personally, like I'm always a big believer on God puts you through stuff to get you to the next level. So all those moments were preparing me for the next thing in life. That's what kind of kept me going all this time, even like in those rough moments.
Appreciate you talking about those moments in the ways that you do, because I do think that'll be very insightful and actually genuinely helpful for producers and just any creative. Because I know some creatives too, even outside of rough times, they feel like they have to be inspired to be creating, so they just wait for inspiration to strike.
Bro, if you're literally searching for inspiration, like if you literally wake up one day and be like, yo, I can only make music, or I'm not going to make music because I'm not inspired, bro, you're not going to get anywhere in the music industry. I'm going to be honest. Unless if you're like some like crazy talented artist, because I feel like certain artists will do that. I'm pretty sure like Frank Ocean will probably only make music when he's inspired, right? But I feel like for producers, that is definitely not the case. You always have to look for inspiration, whether if it's like listening to new music or working with people, literally just hitting up one of your boys and being like, yo, let's go cook up, make a beat. Or you going outside, stepping away from the computer. That might give you some inspiration. Yeah, definitely. I feel like producers should always try to find inspiration. Never let it come to you, because it's a job. Like it's our job, Especially if you want to do this full time, like you can't rely on that.
That's a big thing I've been hearing. Like, and it's just so true. Like the job thing is so real. Once you start looking at it that way, especially for people like early on in it or just getting into it or curious about it, if you're really about it, there's a big difference between creating music for like as a hobby or for fun, just because you like it, versus this is your life, this is your job. You're going to be in moments where you're not always feeling it 100%. But one of the things that happens with consistency, at least in my experience, even when I'm not fully feeling it, I make sure to sit down and stuff. The inspiration usually comes back anyways. And then the other thing I say is quality is subjective. So there's been some of the projects I almost deleted, like straight up almost deleted, became some of my biggest placements. Especially if you're sticking to that consistency and stuff, choose that over perfectionism or whatever might be in your head. Talk to me about faith and working in the industry. Sweezy had that question. How do you balance faith while working in the industry? You've been in the industry for a while and you've seen some of the biggest ups that a lot of people in the industry would see. How do you balance faith? And have you always had it since you got into music, like before that?
That's a weighted question. I can go in so many. Well, okay. So first of all, I feel like every single thing that I've been blessed with in my life has been faith. God has been on my side for like a very long time. How you treat people is a very, very big part in music industry. Because if you treat people bad or poorly, you're like, you will get the benefits and stuff like that. But long term, you probably won't get consistent placements because the universe and God is just not going to bless you because you're just treating people poorly, right? For me, I always treat everybody like equals. Even with me too, like I go in a session, like I'm always going to, whether if you're a producer that has like 500 placements, like I'm always going to, talk to you, or someone was to ask me for advice on something, obviously not going to answer those ones where it's just like, yo, I have a sample pack. I'm not going to do those ones, but I'm always trying to give back and always trying to help people because you got to pay it forward, right? With all these blessings I got in my life, God wants me to help somebody or give it back to them or pay it forward. So I feel like faith is very, very strong in that aspect. Yeah, I feel like if I never had a relationship with God, I wouldn't be here right now. And I actually just got a closer relationship with God. I had a good relationship, but it wasn't as strong. I feel like now I'm really trusting God and I'm really seeing the benefits of it. Because before I felt like I could just do everything by myself. And that's definitely not the case the older I got. So yeah, music, definitely, bro. There's a lot of people in this music industry, bro, that treat people like garbage, bro. And hey, man, stuff happens to them, bro. But me personally, bro, just treat people with respect, bro, and walk in path of, righteousness. I feel like that's a very, very big thing when it comes to like music.
Producers will talk about it. People in the industry will talk about it, but not really too deeply. Watching Bro evolve on Instagram a while ago helped me a lot. Someone just commented that.
Watching Bro evolve?
Yeah, bro, watching Bro evolve on Instagram a while ago helped me a lot.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna lie, bro. Like, yo, I grew so much as a producer, bro. Oh my gosh. Like just from like sounds and like I used to only make dark beats and dark samples and stuff. I was literally only making that stuff. And then I transitioned to like looking at just everything. Like I literally make every single thing, like no matter what. Like I'll wake up one day and I'll be like, hey, I just want to make an Afro beat. Or I want to make a dance beat. Or I want to make an 80s beat. Or I want to make a yeet beat. Like, like I just wake up and just do that. I feel like when you do that, you have more avenues, you have more places where you can shoot your shot. I feel like that definitely helped. I think the most important thing that definitely helped me evolve was how you see beats and samples. Producers are always making beats for other producers or samples for other producers. You got to make samples and beats for the artist. Obviously, if you're just releasing a beat on like, I don't know, like you're releasing a beat tape or whatever, you don't want anybody to go on it. Yeah, just, make it for yourself. But if you're in the industry to get placements and work with artists, you have to make beats and samples for the artist. So, finding melodies that stick. A lot of people don't do that nowadays. A lot of people just do. It's very texture heavy. And that is one thing that will not get you those hits. The one thing I always, no matter what, even if AI can literally overtake everything. The one thing that's never, ever, ever going to come out of music and just the science of music is a melody that sticks in your head. Like that's never, ever, ever going to go away, bro. Because humans, bro, our brains are always programmed to finding catchy melodies. So I feel like that's something that always really, stuck with me and helped me really evolve. Or just making beats a certain type of way, like making it for the artist. You can still make something very, very different. Make it simple, but make it still sound, very different. But I feel like Boy Wonder's like the goal at that. Like Boy Wonder's beats are so simple, but they're like, bro, you hear it and you're like, oh my gosh, how in the world did he do all this with like 3 sounds? And it's like the most craziest thing. And it's funny enough, like it's harder to make something very, very simple and make it sound different. So it's like you're kind of challenging yourself when you're just like adding a bunch of stuff. Like it's kind of easy to be different, but it's like you kind of get categorized in like a niche avenue of like, oh, he only makes difficult stuff where, not everybody can get on. So I feel like a big thing for me is if you want to make something complex, you can do that. Have sections and have moments for certain stuff where it's like, if you want to make some complex, have a part where it's complex, but have a moment for that. Maybe keep the whole entire, beat or the sample simple. So when someone hears it, right, like instantly it just clicks in the head of, oh, I really like this.
And that's a gem, honestly. I do remember you breaking down a sample and it was very much, it had all the textures, it had all the ambient stuff. It had this one catchy melody, very simple, but it had it throughout.
That's never going to change, right? It's never going to change.
When I started not only working with artists in person, but also just recording my own demos and whatever. And that was a quickest lesson for me where I'm like, oh, my 808s are just way too loud, or this part of my mix doesn't help the artist at all. Jay Atlantic Joker, he says, is the same person that said watching you evolve on Instagram helped you a lot. His dark stuff was really goated, but he really kills anything. Sure, I still have his sample packs on the hard drives. And then he says, for the night YouTube when?
For the night YouTube when?
Yeah, I think he's asking when you're gonna, like, I mean, you might already, I think you are on YouTube to some extent, but I think he's asking when you're gonna be pushing content and stuff, like on YouTube.
I don't know. Maybe with DJing, like definitely probably with DJing.
Yeah. But we didn't even get into that, but next time.
Yeah, no, definitely for next time. But producing wise, probably get into it. Like maybe make like short videos and stuff. I just don't want to be like known as like a content creator. I really respect a lot of the content guys out there. Me personally, I don't know. I'm just not really with like content, bro. My brain cannot handle all that stuff. I can't imagine doing a YouTube video and like posting content and still doing stuff replacements, bro. I can't do that. So props to people that do that, bro. You guys are superhumans.
Nah, that's what I'm saying. Like that's a whole different game. The only thing I will say, I'm sure people would be like, they'd be hyped to see you. I think there is a way to do it with, you're in the studio, someone's filming it.
I remember I did like a day in the life. I was supposed to continue it, but bro, my cameraman just, had his stuff going on. So I never had anybody to shoot me after that. But
no, it's tough. It's actually tough finding a proper cameraman. I'm not even going to lie. It's not like an easy task unless you're paying like a big bag or whatever.
Yeah, no, exactly. But in the future, I want to definitely do those vlogs. Like vlogs are easy. Those I'll definitely.
Say less. Philip Glass is someone that I know we didn't touch on, but that I found that interesting. It might have come up in one of the.
Yes, bro. I used to Philip Glass. I always used to listen to his stuff, man. He scored Candyman soundtrack like from back in the day, bro. I remember I watched that movie when I was like super young. I remember I heard him like, yo, this guy is crazy. He inspired me so much to make compositions.
On a lot of the sessions you go, when you're making stuff, you pull up things to get inspired. It's very rare that you're going in just making things from scratch or directly just without listening to anything. Because I know there are some producers who they're even against like getting inspired by anything. And then the second question is just a simple one. He said, best piece of gear in his opinion, 2026, like a must have.
Yo, probably a Furman. Everybody cop a Furman.
Ooh, wait, what do you mean Furman? Am I tripping?
So a Furman basically is like, it has this like protector that if anything was like, I don't know, short circuit or like a power surge in your crib, a lot of the things can get like messed up. Like a lot of equipment can get messed up. Wiring your studio like all through that, like putting all power sources through that will protect you. Cause bro, I had a situation, crazy enough, man, where my Apollo last year blew. Like it just completely, bro. One of the circuits blew, and thank God I had warranty, bro. I got really like repaired and stuff. But one of my boys that's like an engineer, some young guy, he like really, really pushed me to say, bro, like, yo, plug every single thing into your Furman. They have ones that you can put on a rack, or they have ones that's like a power block where you could just like plug a bunch of stuff into it. Right. I highly recommend plugging every single thing in your studio, even your laptop, because that's the most important thing. Because if you get a power surge, and power surges happen, God forbid, happens to anybody, bro, you're cooked.
I'm gonna look into that. I've never even considered that, but I'll look into that for sure.
I didn't consider it too until it happens too, and you're like, I wish there's ways I would have prevented that. And having a Furman, bro, where it's like it's super protected, where if there was like a power surge, bro, the actual power block will get cooked. Like none of your equipment, like especially if you buy super expensive equipment like synths and stuff. Like I have like a Juno,
I can't even imagine if one of those went.
I have a Juno 60 and then like a Prophet like 10. Like imagine if that was to get fried, God forbid.
No.
Oh my gosh, I would lose it. So get yourself a Furman. Yeah,
it's the same thing with.
They're super cheap too.
Oh, word? Okay, I'll look into it. Because it's the same thing with hard drive backups. Like you don't think, or at least when you're starting out, you don't really think about backing up your stuff. And then you lose even a little bit of data, and it's one of the biggest regrets you have. You're more than welcome to talk about the inspiration aspect.
Yeah, listening to, honestly, I feel like the best way is, go on YouTube, bro, and just literally just search songs that were made in like 60s, 70s, and 80s. I feel like that was like the peak era of creativity. Like a lot of the stuff that people did back in the day, like it wasn't on a metronome, it wasn't on time, it wasn't on, like a lot of the stuff were kind of even out of tune. People were just like making music off like the strength of just making music. So a lot of the stuff you hear is pure creativity. That's how I always get inspired by just going on YouTube and just search like random stuff. Like even if it's like an African sample from like the 60s or whatever, you can get some crazy inspiration off that.
Yeah, say less. Hey, man, thank you so much. This was an amazing time.
Yes, 100%. Look forward to me and Yoko's project coming very, very, very soon. That one's definitely going to be a big one. That's one I'm very, very excited about. Definitely.
Yeah, everybody should tap in with Yoko right now if they're not tapped in.
Yeah, definitely tap in with Yoko, bro. He's definitely about to be the next big thing, man, for sure.